Markets are reeling after Britain voted to leave the EU. One UK lawmaker calling for Parliament to reject the EU referendum vote. Scotland's First Minister making a similar statement. My next guest says it cannot be undone. With me now, former host of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous and journalist Robin Leach. He is now with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Robin, thanks for joining me again. Labor legislator David Lammy saying the national vote non-binding, and that, well, some Leave supporters now regret their votes. What's your reaction?
There is no such thing as buyer's remorse when you have a vote of this nature. This would be like the actors at the Old Vic in London being horrified that the audience walked out on a bad performance of Macbeth, chased them down the street and said, come back, we'll do Macbeth better tomorrow.
Right, it's a one-shot deal, one and done. We like the analogy, though. It's very visual. So Hillary Clinton is criticizing Donald Trump for talking about his golf property in Scotland and the fact that he said that business could benefit from the UK's exit. The weaker pound means perhaps more tourists in Scotland. So will Hillary Clinton being on the wrong side of the issue hurt her in the general election here, which obviously is still a few months away?
Do you honestly believe that many Americans are concerned about Brexit, other than the fact that Wall Street has tumbled down?
I think that's a fair point, but I do think people see it as a kind of populist shot across the bow, and I think Americans are interested in what happens in England. But I'm getting
well, I think they're interested in this whole rationale of taking back control of their country and not having the government interfere in every aspect of their life. You have to remember that the underlying root reasoning behind Brexit was more about immigration and fighting back at the authoritarian bureaucrats in Europe dictating to Britain what was good for them.
So because you mentioned immigration, oh, sorry, Robin, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you said a word, it's a key word, and there's a lot of discussion about that today. You know this, but the former mayor of London, Boris Johnson, who very much wanted the UK to leave, so he got his way, said it was not about immigration. But now, just moments ago, UK Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt saying essentially the country could hold a second EU referendum if the UK could reach a deal on immigration with the EU. So he is the first minister to suggest that another vote could be had. Does that change your view about the second performance of Macbeth?
Not really. You know, when the horses are bolted from the barn, it takes an awful lot to round them all up and push them back and shut the gate again. I just don't see it happening. I agree with Dr. Ron Paul. They're going to mete out some punishment to Britain over this. This is a perceived threat to government administration. I bet there's some people who have been secretly praying for Mr. Trump to win in November also want him to mete out some punishment to government bureaucrats in the past.
Robin, let me ask you something, though. As we know, practicality reigns, right? So what if the UK feels like it's going to be economically punished? It comes to the table and says, okay, this was about immigration and EU ministers. If you take care of that, you take that element out of the equation, maybe we'll do a second vote. Could you, scale of 1 to 10, imagine a likely scenario of that happening? I think you're going to tell me no, but I just want to ask before we let you go.
Well, you're right. You're Kreskin this afternoon, Deirdre.
Excellent.
The answer is no, and it may be again the government bureaucrats who are wishfully thinking. But if you talk to the man in the street over his pint of beer tonight in the local pub, he is definitely not going to want to be lectured by the EU over the decisions of how Britain should lead its life. That's not the way British people are. They would really balk against that theory that you just advanced.
All right, Robin, we take you at your word. Robin Leach, thank you very much, sir.